What if I told you that every morning when you wake up, you're not just opening your eyes to see the world, but literally choosing which version of reality you'll experience that day? Most people believe they're passive observers of their circumstances, watching life unfold around them like spectators in a movie theater. But cutting-edge neuroscience has revealed something that completely shatters everything we thought we knew about manifestation. And by the end of our time together, you'll discover the one quantum secret that makes manifestation inevitable rather than hopeful. Recent brain imaging studies from Stanford University show that your brain doesn't distinguish between what you're actually seeing and what you're intensely visualizing. When quantum physics meets consciousness research, we discover that observation itself changes the fundamental structure of what becomes real. Right now, as you're watching this, your mind is actively selecting from millions of possible experiences, filtering reality through a lens you've been unconsciously programming your entire life. But here's what neuroscientists discovered that changes everything we thought about reality creation, and why most people are accidentally programming failure into their lives without even realizing it. There's a woman named Elena who reached out to me after years of feeling stuck in the same relationship patterns. Every person she attracted seemed emotionally unavailable, and she couldn't understand why. She'd worked on her self-worth, gone through therapy, even tried dating apps with better photos, but nothing created lasting change. Then she discovered what we're about to explore together, and within 60 days, she met someone who was not only emotionally available, but pursuing her with genuine interest. Not through changing herself, but through mastering quantum selectivity. The secret isn't in what you're looking at, it's in how you're looking. Your visual system processes over 11 million bits of information every second, but your conscious mind can only handle about 40 bits. That means your brain is constantly making choices about what to show you and what to filter out. These choices aren't random. They're based on patterns and expectations programmed into your subconscious mind, often without your awareness. Have you ever noticed how when you're considering buying a particular car, you suddenly start seeing that exact model everywhere? The cars were always there, but your brain wasn't filtering them into your conscious awareness. Now imagine consciously directing this filtering process toward opportunities, abundance, love, and success. But here's where most people make their first crucial mistake, and it's probably what's been sabotaging your manifestations without you realizing it. They try to manifest from their current level of seeing. It's like trying to solve a puzzle while wearing glasses that blur half the pieces. You can't see what you can't see, and what you can't see can't become part of your reality. But there's something even more fascinating happening beneath the surface of consciousness that changes everything about how reality works. Dr. Joe Dispenza's groundbreaking research with over 4,000 participants revealed something that will blow your mind. When people vividly imagined their desired future for just 20 minutes daily, their brains showed the same neural activity as if they were actually living that experience. But here's the part that changes everything. Within 7 days, their bodies began producing the same chemicals and hormones as if the imagined experience was physically happening right now. Your nervous system doesn't care whether something is happening in physical reality or in your imagination. If the visualization is detailed and emotionally charged enough, your body responds as if it's real. This is the biological foundation of manifestation. But there's a hidden layer that most people completely miss, and it's the reason their visualizations don't create lasting change. They visualize what they want, while their habitual way of seeing remains unchanged. It's like trying to record a sunset while wearing sunglasses that filter out all the warm colors. The sunset is still there, but you can't capture its full beauty through that particular lens. Your current way of seeing was formed by everything you've experienced up until now, creating invisible barriers that filter out the very opportunities that could change everything. Wait, it gets more interesting. Your current reality isn't just influenced by how you see, it's literally constructed by how you see. MIT's latest consciousness research shows that observation doesn't just affect what you notice, it actually influences the probability of certain events occurring in your experience. Most people have been unknowingly constructing realities that contradict their desires their entire lives. But when you understand what I'm about to share, you'll realize you've been holding the master key to reality creation all along. Here's something that might sound impossible until you experience it yourself. Right now, there are solutions to your biggest challenges existing in your environment, but your current perceptual filters are screening them out of your awareness. There are people who could become incredible allies, resources you haven't recognized, and opportunities disguised as ordinary moments. The problem isn't that these things don't exist. The problem is that your brain has been trained to look for something else entirely. Consider this fascinating example. An artist, a real estate investor, and a security expert can walk through the same neighborhood and have completely different experiences. The artist sees color palettes, architectural details, and creative inspiration. The investor sees property values, renovation potential, and market trends. The security expert sees vulnerabilities, safety concerns, and risk factors. Same environment, entirely different realities based on their trained way of seeing. Marcus, a struggling entrepreneur I worked with, discovered this principle when his business was failing. Instead of seeing his industry as saturated and competitive, he started looking through the eyes of someone who easily found untapped markets. Within 8 months, he went from $50,000 to $300,000 in revenue, not by working more hours, but by seeing opportunities his competition completely missed. Now here's where it gets wild. What if I told you that the version of you who already has what you want is seeing your current environment right now, but through completely different eyes? They're not looking at a different world, they're looking at the same world with a different perceptual filter. And that filter is revealing opportunities, connections, and possibilities that remain invisible to your current way of seeing. This isn't just about positive thinking or visualization. This is about quantum selectivity, the ability to choose which probability wave you collapse into reality. In quantum physics, particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. While we can debate consciousness effects on subatomic particles, we can't debate that your conscious attention absolutely determines which version of reality becomes your lived experience. But here's the kicker that changes everything about manifestation. Every time you expect disappointment, you're not just thinking negatively, you're actively observing through a lens that makes disappointment more likely to appear in your experience. Every time you believe opportunities are scarce, your brain isn't just being pessimistic, it's literally filtering out the abundance surrounding you right now. UCLA's neuroscience department found that our expectation patterns can influence outcomes by up to 40% in controlled studies. The revolutionary news: you can change this filtering process as quickly as you can change what you're looking for. But there's a specific way to do this that most people get completely wrong, and I'll show you exactly how in just a moment. Elena's breakthrough came when she stopped analyzing why men were emotionally unavailable and started seeing her dating experiences through the eyes of someone who naturally attracts emotionally healthy partners. She stopped scanning first dates for red flags and started noticing green flags, signs of emotional intelligence and genuine interest. The shift wasn't in the men she was meeting. It was in her perception of what was already there. Within weeks, she noticed patterns that had always been there, but had been invisible to her previous way of looking. The men who showed real interest were often the ones she had previously dismissed as too nice or not exciting enough. The emotional availability she was seeking had been there all along, but her old perceptual filter was programmed to find it boring and overlook it completely. Your current reality isn't wrong or right. It's simply the logical result of how you've been observing the world around you. Change your observation and you change your reality. But this requires more than positive thinking or wishful visualization. It requires what Harvard's Consciousness Lab calls quantum seeing, the ability to consciously direct your attention toward the version of reality you want to experience. Most people are seeing the world through the eyes of who they've been rather than through the eyes of who they're becoming. They use past experiences to interpret present moments, creating an unconscious loop that keeps them stuck in familiar patterns, even when those patterns produce unwanted results. But what if you could interrupt this loop in real time? Here's the breakthrough technique that's been hidden in plain sight. Before making any decision today, pause for just 3 seconds and ask yourself, what would the version of me who already has what I want see in this moment? This micro-intervention, what neuroscientists call a pattern interrupt, literally rewires your neural pathways in real time. You have two distinct ways of seeing available to you at any moment. First, there's habitual seeing, which is automatic based on past conditioning, and designed to confirm what you already believe about yourself and the world. Then there's conscious seeing, which is intentional, based on your desired future, and designed to reveal new possibilities that align with who you're becoming. Habitual seeing asks questions like, what could go wrong here? Where have I seen this pattern before? What should I be worried about? Why isn't this working? Who might reject or disappoint me? These aren't bad questions, but when they're your primary way of filtering reality, they create experiences that match their frequency of expectation. Conscious seeing asks entirely different questions. What's possible here that I haven't noticed yet? How could this situation serve my highest good? What would someone who easily attracts what I want see in this moment? Where is the opportunity that's hiding in plain sight? What would I notice if I absolutely knew everything was working in my favor? The moment you shift from habitual to conscious seeing, your entire experience begins to transform. Not because the world changes, but because you're accessing a different layer of what was always there. It's like switching from a black and white television to ultra-high-definition color. The broadcast was always available in full spectrum, but you needed the right receiver to access it. Let me give you a concrete example that will make this crystal clear. Imagine you're at a networking event, and your habitual seeing is scanning for signs that you don't belong, that people might judge you, or that you're not interesting enough to contribute meaningfully. Your brain will find evidence to support this perception, and you'll have an uncomfortable experience that confirms your fears about networking and meeting new people. Now imagine attending the exact same event with conscious seeing activated. You're looking for signs that people are genuinely friendly, that conversations can lead to mutual benefit and exciting collaborations, that you have valuable insights and experiences to share. Your brain finds evidence to support this perception instead, and you have experiences that confirm your positive expectations and open new doorways. Same event, same people, same conversations available. Completely different experience based entirely on your way of seeing. This isn't self-deception or naive optimism. This is conscious selection of which aspects of reality you want to amplify in your awareness, and it's the foundation of all lasting transformation. When you consistently see through the lens of your desired reality, something remarkable happens that most people never experience. Your behavior naturally aligns with that vision without force or effort. You don't have to push yourself to act more confident when you're genuinely seeing legitimate reasons to feel confident. You don't have to pretend to be optimistic when you're actually noticing authentic causes for optimism. This alignment between perception and behavior is what creates genuine transformation. You're not performing a role or trying to convince yourself of something that feels false. You're simply accessing a version of reality that supports the person you're naturally becoming through conscious choice. But hold on, there's a deeper layer most people miss entirely, and this is where the real magic happens. Your way of seeing doesn't just affect what you notice in your external environment. It fundamentally determines what you recognize as possible within yourself. When you see the world as limiting and scarce, you unconsciously limit your own potential and possibilities. When you see the world as abundant with opportunity, you naturally expand your sense of what you can achieve and become. Think about someone you deeply admire who seems to effortlessly attract success, love, or incredible opportunities into their life. They're not living in a different universe with different physical laws. They're not following secret rules that only they know about. They're living in the exact same world you are, but they're seeing it through a fundamentally different lens. That lens reveals possibilities, connections, and pathways that remain completely invisible to someone looking through filters of limitation, fear, or past disappointment. The beautiful truth that changes everything is this: you can develop this same way of seeing. It's not a special gift that some people are born with and others aren't. It's not dependent on your background, education, or current circumstances. It's a learnable skill that can be developed, practiced, and mastered, just like learning to play an instrument or speak a new language. But first, you need to become consciously aware of your current perceptual filters. Most people are so completely identified with their habitual way of seeing that they think their perspective is simply objective reality. They don't realize they're looking through a particular lens that was programmed by their past experiences. They think they're seeing the world as it actually is. Start paying attention to the very first thing you notice when you enter a new environment. Are you automatically scanning for potential threats or genuine opportunities? When you meet someone new, are you unconsciously looking for reasons to connect and collaborate, or are you searching for reasons to be cautious and protected? When you face any kind of challenge, do you immediately see obstacles and complications, or do you naturally look for creative solutions and hidden advantages? These automatic responses reveal the deep programming of your current perceptual filters. They show you the lens through which you've been unconsciously creating your current reality. And here's the exciting part. Once you become aware of your habitual way of seeing, you can begin consciously experimenting with different ways of seeing the exact same situations. This isn't about forcing artificial positivity or denying legitimate challenges. It's about recognizing that there are always multiple layers of reality available simultaneously, and you have the power to choose which layer you want to focus on and amplify in your experience. Here's your first practical experiment, and I want you to try this starting immediately. Each morning before you check your phone or begin your daily routine, spend exactly 2 minutes consciously choosing what you want to see that day. Maybe you want to notice signs that the universe is supporting your goals, evidence that your work is making a meaningful difference, or opportunities to connect with people who share your interests and values. Don't try to force these things to happen or create them artificially. Just set a clear intention to notice them if they're already present in your environment. Then move through your day with gentle awareness of this intention, like a background app running on your phone. You'll be absolutely amazed by how much you discover that you were previously overlooking completely. This isn't magic or wishful thinking. This is practical neuroscience in action. Your brain is constantly filtering reality based on what you've trained it to consider important and relevant. When you consciously direct this filtering process, you begin to see a world that supports your growth and success rather than one that confirms your limitations and fears. But wait, there's an advanced technique that accelerates this process dramatically, and it's what created Elena's rapid transformation and Marcus's business breakthrough. Instead of just changing what you look for, you can actually change who you're looking through. Let me explain what this means and why it's so powerful. Right now, you're seeing the world through the eyes of your current identity, your current self-concept, your current level of expectation and possibility. But the version of you who already has what you want, they're seeing the same world through completely different eyes. They have a different identity, different expectations, different beliefs about what's normal and possible for someone like them. Here's the quantum leap technique that changes everything. Choose one specific area of your life where you want to see different results. Maybe it's your career, your relationships, your finances, or your health. For the next 7 days, commit to seeing this area through the eyes of the version of you who already has what you want in this domain. If you desire financial abundance, start seeing your current financial situation through the eyes of someone who knows that money flows easily and naturally to them. If you want deeper, more meaningful relationships, begin seeing people and social situations through the eyes of someone who naturally connects and is genuinely loved for who they are. If you want career success and recognition, start seeing opportunities through the eyes of someone whose talents are clearly valued and sought after. This isn't pretending or positive thinking or visualization. This is consciously choosing which aspect of the quantum field of infinite possibilities you want to collapse into your direct experience. When you consistently see through the eyes of your desired identity, you begin to naturally make choices, take actions, and respond to situations in ways that align with that vision of yourself. The person you want to become already exists in the field of pure potential. Every time you see through their eyes, every time you make choices from their perspective, you're literally collapsing that potential into present reality. This is the practical application of quantum mechanics to consciousness and manifestation. But here's where most people sabotage themselves, and I need to warn you about this common trap that derails even the most committed practitioners. They try this technique for a day or two, don't see immediate external changes, and conclude it doesn't work. but the changes happen from the inside out, not the outside in. The first shifts occur in your internal experience, in how you feel, in what you notice, in the choices that feel natural and obvious to you. Elena didn't meet her ideal partner on day 2 of practicing this technique, but by day 2, she was seeing dating opportunities through completely different eyes. She was noticing qualities in people that she had previously overlooked. She was making different choices about who to spend time with. She was showing up to dates with a different energy and expectation. The external results followed naturally from these internal shifts. Your way of seeing is the most powerful tool you have for creating the life you want. It costs nothing to use, it's available in every single moment, and it can begin transforming your experience immediately. You don't need special training, expensive programs, or perfect conditions. You just need the willingness to see the world through the eyes of who you're becoming, rather than through the eyes of who you've been. As you practice conscious seeing, you'll begin to notice that opportunities, insights, and meaningful connections seem to appear more frequently in your life. Other people might tell you that you're getting lucky, but you'll understand the deeper truth. You're simply seeing what was always there. You're accessing a layer of reality that exists for everyone, but remains invisible to those who are still using outdated perceptual filters. This is the true quantum aspect of consciousness that researchers at Princeton and Stanford are just beginning to understand. Your attention doesn't passively receive information about an objective reality. Your attention actively participates in determining which version of reality becomes your lived experience. When you master this understanding, you transform from a passive victim of circumstances into a conscious co-creator of your life experience. Most people spend their entire lives trying to change their external circumstances while leaving their internal way of seeing completely unchanged. They work harder to make more money while continuing to see the world as financially threatening and unstable. They seek new relationships while maintaining their habitual way of seeing people as potentially hurtful and unreliable. They pursue new opportunities while keeping their old way of seeing challenges as overwhelming and obstacles as insurmountable. This approach might create temporary improvements, but it rarely leads to lasting transformation because the underlying perceptual patterns that created the original circumstances remain completely unchanged. It's like rearranging furniture in a dark room while refusing to turn on the lights. You might stumble across a better arrangement accidentally, but you'll never see the full potential of the space. When you change your way of seeing first, everything else begins to shift naturally and organically. You start making different choices because you're seeing different options and possibilities. You attract different opportunities because you're recognizing potential that others completely miss. You create different relationships because you're seeing people through the lens of connection rather than protection. This doesn't mean becoming naive or ignoring legitimate red flags and genuine concerns. Conscious seeing includes the wisdom to recognize what needs attention while maintaining the ability to see what's working, what's possible, and what's emerging. It's about expanding your perceptual range rather than limiting it to only positive or only negative information. Now let me give you a powerful daily practice that will integrate everything we've explored and accelerate your transformation beyond what most people think is possible. Tonight, before you go to sleep, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day through the lens of conscious seeing. Instead of replaying what went wrong or worrying about tomorrow's challenges, deliberately look for moments when things worked better than expected, times when someone showed unexpected kindness, or instances when you handled situations more skillfully than you might have in the past. This isn't about denying challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about training your brain to notice and appreciate the aspects of your experience that support your growth, well-being, and desired direction. The more you practice this conscious review, the more your brain will naturally begin to filter for these positive elements during your waking hours. But here's the advanced integration that creates lasting change and separates those who transform from those who stay stuck. As you review your day, ask yourself, how did the version of me who already has what I want show up today? Where did I make choices from that elevated identity? When did I see through their eyes? What evidence did I notice that I'm already becoming this person? This practice does two powerful things simultaneously. It reinforces the neural pathways associated with your desired identity, and it trains your brain to look for evidence that you're already transforming. Both of these create momentum that builds on itself day after day, creating what researchers call positive neuroplasticity loops. The quantum secret that makes manifestation inevitable rather than hopeful is this breakthrough understanding that changes everything about how reality works. You're not trying to become someone different. You're learning to see through the eyes of who you already are at your highest potential. That person isn't some future fantasy or distant possibility. They exist right now in the quantum field of infinite possibility, waiting for you to recognize them through conscious seeing. Every moment you spend seeing through their eyes, every choice you make from their perspective, every time you notice what they would notice, you're collapsing that quantum potential into your current reality. You're not manifesting something external that doesn't exist. You're manifesting the fullest expression of who you already are at the deepest level of your being. Change what you see, and you become who you are meant to be. The person you're seeking to become is already here, already complete, already available in this very moment. They're simply waiting for you to see the world through their eyes. When you do, everything changes, and the life you've been imagining begins to unfold naturally around you. The transformation isn't in your circumstances. The transformation is in your recognition of what was always true, always possible, always available to you. You've had the power all along. Now you know how to use it consciously, intentionally, and in perfect alignment with your highest potential. If this resonates with something you've always sensed but couldn't quite put into words, let me know by commenting, "I see differently," below. Your comment helps others find this message, and it's your declaration to the universe that you're ready to access the reality that's been waiting for your conscious attention.